All right, welcome everyone. Today we are discussing your worst RFP mistakes, dumb proposals, bid fails. All right, and what we want to do, like last week, I want to bring in people up here so we can help answer their questions. So as we're coming on, just keep in mind we're looking for some people to come up here on stage. Let me get things going. First and foremost, let me change my settings over here so we get you guys up on stage. How's everyone doing tonight? My name is Eric Coffey. And if you don't know already, we've got a podcast called the Govcon Giants Podcast. More importantly, we've been helping people just like yourself. So let's join us live. Save it. Cool. All right, good stuff. So if you see here, right below my name, govconeric.com/join. That allows you to come up to the stage and talk to me and ask some questions. I can tell you about some of my stories, some of my RFP mistakes, proposals, things like that, where I failed on bids. And so for us today, though, we want to hear how we can help you out there. Thanks for joining the show. If you have any questions on anything that we're talking about, below is our email, phone number. And like I said, we'll be here helping people to navigate the world of government contracts. So below, free to come up on stage. Just type in govconeric.com/join. I'll bring you up on stage. Get some water, sorry. And let's have a conversation about some of the things that you've done in the past and how we can help avoid those things in the future. So right now, who do we have out here? I haven't seen anybody put anything in the comments yet. Tell me who you are, where you're from, where you're calling from. Looking for some people to put some stuff in the comments. Haven't seen anything yet. We've got some upcoming events coming up. So looking forward to that. Who do we have out here? So just a few of the events that we've got coming up this week. For those of you who don't know, signing your partners tomorrow, building for success. We're going to show you how to work with as a consultant, signing partners. Then we've got joint ventures coming up on Wednesday, how to find joint venture partners. Then we're doing a fireside chat on our step-by-step plan for launching into government contracts. And then ready, set, go procurement readiness. We're going to close out the week Thursday with that. So we've got some action-packed stuff coming up this week for those of you who have never joined us before. So you can see, and if you have not heard, I'll put it back up on the screen. If you haven't heard before, it's our private community called Federal Help Center. So if you've never seen us, if you've never heard of that community, we have over 4,000 members in there, and we are helping them, right, with everything from finding teaming partners to understanding joint ventures, CMMC, being procurement ready. We've got a company that does funding, insurance. So we're helping people with proposals. And so a lot of different areas where small businesses are struggling, we are able to essentially bring in subject matter experts to help that. Hello, Dr. Graham from Atlanta. Welcome today. All right. Who else do we have out there? Let me know who you are. Tell me what you do and also where you're calling from today so that we know who's in the audience. So normally what we've done, like I said, is that just for you, Dr. Graham, who's first time listening, what we typically do is in the past, and I showed on the screen, but if we type in the link right here, right, so then we bring people up stage, and then they come on and they talk to us about the issues that they're dealing with in government contracts. And so that's typically the format that we do here. So welcome, Dr. Derek Williams from Atlanta. Welcome. In fact, I see two people in Atlanta. We will be doing a mastermind event in Atlanta on May the 2nd through the 4th. So we've got that event coming up. in Atlanta, May the 2nd and 4th. We'll be doing a live event. But I'm interested to know, oh, you're 8A, Dr. Williams. Welcome. So we do a lot of work with 8As, helping them navigate the 8A program. In fact, one of the biggest mistakes I made and challenges I've made was in working through the 8A program. Who else do we have out there watching today? And again, we're looking for some people to come up on stage. Just type in govcon.com/join. I'll bring you up to the stage, and then we could talk through whatever issues that you're having. Now, when we did this on Thursday, okay, it always takes one person to break that barrier. And then once the one person gets up here, then we start getting people coming up, and then eventually we ran out of time. So one of the things that I like to remind people who've never heard me before, and Laurie Sayles says this all the time, is that we say that we want to do millions of dollars in contracts. However, we're afraid to show our face. We're afraid to pitch our services. I mean, you have a platform now where you can come up here, tell us who you are, tell us what you do, and let people get a chance to see you. So this is your opportunity to do that. So we were talking earlier today with somebody about RQ construction, and I want to pull up some stuff on the streets that I have. So this is your chance before everyone comes up to talk to us about what it is that you do, what it is that you need help with, what are some of the areas. All right. So tell us, again, I'm still looking for someone to tell me about their business, what their business does. I haven't seen that. Okay. Dr. Derek Williams. All right. Perfect. So Derek Williams, facilities management, new to the AA space, could really use some insight. All right. No problem. Let me, Derek, I got you. I appreciate you. And this is what it takes, right? I need someone, let's talk about. So Derek says he's new to 8A space. So let me go through, Derek. I'll walk you through something here. Let me walk you through, Derek. I got you covered, buddy. All right. Who else do we have out there? I'm going to walk Derek through some real life stuff. So I appreciate you, Derek. Again, if you're just joining us, tell me who you are, tell me what it is that you do, and tell me what you need help with. I'm going to walk through, because Derek said he's new to 8A space, so I'm going to walk him through an 8A presentation that I have, and this helped Derek out a lot. So we're going to do this. Ooh, Dr. Graham wants to work cyber initiatives and emerging tech. All right. See, now we're getting somewhere. All right, Dr. Graham, I got you covered on SBIRs and emerging tech. Let me take care of Derek on the 8A program first really quick. And then Dr. Graham, we're going to talk to you about cybers and emerging tech. Give me 1 second. Let me put. All right, not this presentation. All right. Someone says they just want one contract. I can appreciate that. All right. So, Derek, you still with us? Good stuff. All right, Martin Lowe from Bridgeport, Connecticut. Welcome. Let me just real quick. Let me go over. I'm gonna do a really quick 8A presentation for Mr. Derek Williams here, and then let's do this real quick for you. All right. So, all right. Can everybody see that screen? So, Derek, I did this presentation on 8A program because a lot of people are not taught how this program works. So I put this together to go over a program for just a high level overview and explanation so that you know the things that you're supposed to be doing. And I will be happy to share that with you since you asked first. We'll go ahead and walk you guys through it. So just want to make sure Mr. Derek Williams, you're still there with us. So we'll go through this presentation with everybody here. So Eric, the way that the 8A program works, are you still there with us? I'll be happy to go through the presentation. All right. I'm waiting for Derek. All right. Someone says supplies, heavy civil contractor, medical assistant. By the way, anybody who wants to come up to the stage, if you just type in govcon.com/join, you come up to the stage and ask questions. All right. Boom. So my man Derek's still here. Let's go over this presentation with him. All right, Derek. So the way that the 8A program works, high level overview, you have your 8A firms, then you have the SBA and the agency. And so your relationship is with the SBA, and they're the ones that actually work directly with agencies. The way that they do that is through what's called a partnership agreement. All right. And that's the code of federal regulations that governs that. So essentially, it's the way that they're able to sole source contracts is because the SBA has a partnership agreement with these agencies to essentially work with 8A firms. This is what the partnership agreement kind of looks like. You can look this up. They're on the SBA website, but just to give you an overview of what the partnership between the SBA and agencies look like. So essentially, the SBA has to approve all 8A contract actions. So you have the procuring entities, and then you have the 8A firms on the right-hand side, and the SBAs in the middle. And so that the way that they're able to do that through the sole source negotiated is because technically your agreement is going to the SBA and the agencies, not with you. And then the 8A and the SBA works with the 8A company on the other side. All right. So that's how it works. A couple of people that you want to keep in mind that you may have never heard of if you're new to the 8A program is your procurement center representative. That person is responsible for making sure that the federal agencies are setting aside opportunities for small businesses. And they are, and you can look them up, PCR, they are basically based on districts and regions of the country, and then based on agencies. So someone may cover the Northeast, but then only cover 3 or 4 different agencies. And essentially, like I said, they're making sure that the agencies are setting aside enough requirements that there's opportunities for the very small businesses, including the 8A program, which is also known as 8A BD. So how they work in terms of acquisitions, there's 3 ways. Number 1, the SBA does what's called a search letter, where they advise that you're participating in the 8A firm. They send out a search letter, request the contract activity to identify acquisitions to support your plans. This is the kind of the overview how it looks. So it goes search letter to the SBA, to the procurement entity. And then they do that, right? So when you have something that you've seen on a forecast list, a source of sought, or pre-solicitation, you want to ask the government rep, right, on your behalf, your BOS, to send out this search letter. All right. And so they'll send that out, right, for you to a government entity. All right. And so they'll do that. Then once they do that, they'll send also your capabilities. And then the government entity, this is what it kind of looks like, just kind of going through just examples. And so the government entity will send back a requirements letter where they say, okay, the SBA identifies a specific requirement for one or more participants and sends a requirements letter to the agency's Office of Small Business. And what they'll do is, this is how it goes back. Requirements letter sent to procurement officer for the SBA requesting that this be given to an SBA for the 8A BD program. And so based on you doing your own market research and you actually finding opportunities, finding these things, right, through one of these different ways, this is what the government will write and say, hey, this person, the DLA is looking for qualified 8A firms to meet their missions and do their needs. They'll send back an offering letter that says, okay, after evaluation, the contract office notifies SBA that we plan to place this opportunity with an 8A firm. And this is what an example of an offering letter looks like. And then you have an acceptance letter where they'll accept that on your behalf. And this example, acceptance letter. So essentially, the process a lot of times that we don't do as 8A companies is we are not initiating, right, from our side to have the SBA office send out search letters on my behalf. And so what I've seen was a lot of people get into the 8A firm, and because they're not aware of this process, right, then they're not able to initiate having the SBA help them on their behalf. And so for us, what we try to do is we try to teach people about the process so that now you can be educated. And here's the clauses where 19.4 talks about procurement center reps and their roles and responsibilities. 19.8 talks about Continuous 8A program. And so what we try to do is we want to help you so that now when you go back to your BOS, you can tell the BOS, right? You know the steps that are supposed to happen and you know the order of the steps. So you could go back and tell the BOS, right? I hope you know who your BOS is, exactly what your expectation is of them. So oftentimes the BOS is fortunate because no one teaches people how to navigate the 8A program. So they don't do anything for you unless they're prompted to. And because we're not taught these things, then we don't know what to ask for. Does that make sense? So again, that was a really quick high-level overview of what the process looks like from you initiating the market research to requesting, having the government request a search letter to an offering letter and acceptance letter to actually win contracts with the 8A program. But the biggest thing to take away, Derek Williams, is if you don't know, right, what to ask of the SBA rep, then a lot of times what's going to happen is they are not going to do anything for you. You say I froze up on my end. Did anyone else see the presentation I gave? Derek says I froze up. Okay. Yes. Okay. So Derek, looks like it might have been on your end. Wasn't on our end, but okay. You saw the presentation. Yes. Okay. Everybody saw it. Okay. Good. I just want to make sure. All right. So Derek, what I would say to you. All right. Everybody saw the presentation. So Derek, what I would say to you, a couple things, right, is okay. I'm back on your end. All right, Derek. So essentially what I went over here in these couple slides was explaining that you as the 8A company, your responsibility is to essentially request the government. Oh, you saw it. Okay, good. Okay, perfect. All right, good stuff. All right, great. I just want to make sure. All right. So, that is a really quick overview. If you want Derek to go in more detail, we could definitely set up a call with someone from my office and we'll be happy to go over, explaining it in greater detail. But essentially for me, what I find is that most small businesses don't know what to ask for when they get an 8A program from the SBA. And so essentially that's why they can't help them because you're not asking anything of them. And they kind of play on that fact. So because they have 60, 70 companies under their portfolio. So it's great when, in my opinion, that people don't know what they're doing because no one's really asking much of them. Yeah, come up to the stage. Just type in govconeric.com/join and you come up to the stage and ask your questions. Don't be shy. We're looking for people to come up on stage. But Derek, if you want, let me give you a link. If you want, govconeric.com/calm. So if you follow that link, Derek, we could do an assessment call with you. Also, for anybody on here who would like to do an assessment call with us, right? So we could talk about strategy and where you're at in the process. First, yes, I'm looking for people to come up on stage still. Okay, just so you know. All right. I'm still looking for people to come up on stage. Just type it in, govconeric.com/join, and come up on stage. And then two, hold on. All right. Yes, there you can. Absolutely. You can get a copy of the slide presentation. Absolutely. Oops. That's the wrong banner. Sorry, guys. All right. Who's coming up on stage? Who's coming up on stage? Someone else asked me. So, what we do. So, one of the ways that we're able to help businesses is we create this action plan. And these are the activities that we walk people through, right? That you should be doing in order to land in a contract opportunity. So, I think someone earlier said, I just want to win a contract. These are the activities that we do that helps people to win contracts. All right. Who's come up on stage? Derek. So you can always send me an email, right? There's my email, Eric at Govcon Giants. You can get a copy of that slide presentation. All right, who's coming up on stage? GovconEric.com/join. Martin Lowe. Come on. This is your opportunity to get in front of people, talk about what you do and who you are. This is how you find partners. This is how you find people to network with. This is how you find opportunities. All right, who's coming up on stage? So let me, we're waiting. All right. So Dr. Graham, on the SBIR programs and initiatives. So there's a lot of, that's actually something that we work on, not specifically the SBIR program, but we work with emerging technologies. I'll show you. So we actually work with, uh-oh, I heard somebody pop up here. So we could definitely talk through that. This is an area that we work in right now actively. Martin, come on up. John Palmer, come on up to the stage. Tell your story. All you have to, you don't have to ask permission. If you just type in govconeric.com/join, there's no need to ask permission. Here, right there. No need to ask permission. Come on up to the stage. She said, I'm trying hard, but don't know how. If you type in on your tab, govconeric.com/join, a link will pop up. John Palmer, you coming up here? See, how do we join? Right there. govconeric.com/join. And that'll take you into StreamYard. My man. All right. So while we're waiting for some people to join us, again, we're still looking for people. Tell me who you are. Tell me what you do. Yes, but your mic or camera is not. All right. There you go. Tell them go to a separate tab. That's thank you for that suggestion. So I can see you, but I can't hear you. All right. So let's see. Derek Williams. We'll get you the cup presentation. But I also would recommend, because what I've done in the past, I'm still waiting for people to, I don't see any questions. All right. AG Vaga, Clerco, GovStrat, and DC Metro Area Program Management RPA Services. Courier Commercial Cleaning, the commish. So the commish, what's your questions about courier commercial cleaning? All right, there we go. Somebody knows how to use technology. There we go. All right. I'll put you back down until you're ready, brother. All right. All right. You good? Let me know when you're good. All right. So my man says he wants to win a contract. I showed you an action plan that we use. But what I would encourage you to do, like anyone else, is again, when I say closed mouths don't get fed. So if you guys come up here and we talk, I can give you a strategy to help you, right, with those issues. But honestly, it's just very difficult while you're sitting on the side to try to help. All right, John, you look good.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it, man. How you doing?
Doing good. Yourself?
Not too bad. I'm wrapping up some things. About to head to a conference in Vegas, a big security conference. So
Nice,
I'm in my
nice,
casual
nice.
gear now. I'm knocking out some stuff before I head out. So
Oh, okay. All right. That's all right. No problem. Congratulations on your big award the other day.
thank you, sir. Thank
You
you.
know,
Thank you.
you know. So I know everything is not easy.
A lot of behind the scenes things people don't know, right? They just see the award, they see the accolades and success, but there's so much that goes into. I mean, literally, this contract starts tomorrow, so it was a 3 month rolling because it's such a huge
Yeah.
contract, and so I was
Right.
doing things at last minute. And as you know, this GovCon space is not for the faint of heart.
Yeah,
So
I agree with you. I agree with you. So you said you had a story you want to share. I
yes.
want to hear it.
Oh man, I have a few stories. I'm gonna just share one. Share one for the time being. So there was a contract that, well, first of all, the audience
Tell
doesn't
us. Yeah.
know. The founder and president of Servexo, where we specialize in keeping people safe in safety solutions. We started off as a physical security company, and we evolved and grew into a tech company. So based out of Los Angeles, service disabled veteran now, still in the 8A program. So a little bit about us. But at any rate, so back to what I was mentioning as far as the guard services. So we had a contract with the agency, the EPA, which I could share now because it's passed. So this particular contract with the EPA, we bid on this contract, and this was our first contract we were awarded that had a CBA involved. So anytime you're dealing with services, anyone knows out there, a lot of government contracts, if they're large, if they've been around for a while, they may have what's called collective bargaining agreements. And so, pretty much, short jargon words is like wage termination, DOL, that you have in every federal contract, but more on steroids, more specific. So, let's say I have guard company A, their employees at this particular contract, the client likes, and they say we're going to unionize and we're going to get with this union. They're going to make an agreement, and then we're going to add these, extra marks for our costs and benefits, yada yada yada. Anyway, so we won this award, and we're excited, we're ecstatic. But unfortunately, during the contract period, there was not a lot of questions that we probably should have asked that revealed costs and pricing on certain positions. Nevertheless, we were awarded, and so we were looking to sell contract opportunity with someone else, and all the uh, partners, if you will, no one wanted to bid on it. If they did, they were outbidding us, and so what happened was we got to a point that we would do the work, and then when it was time for us to do the work, we had all these hidden costs that was discovered. So for us, it's like we can't take a loss for this, so let's try to subcontract that out. Unfortunately, we couldn't get to a good settlement agreement that will agree to our price. So guess what? We had two options. We either we allow the government to allow us to exit, and think about it, this is a $4.2 million annual contract, so it's not a small contract. So we had to bite the bullet because it's one of those things that it can make or break your company if you're not ready for it. And so, at any rate, we decided, government was gracious enough to explain everything to them, and they just canceled the contract. So they didn't terminate it for cause. Thank God, it wasn't terminated for default. But we came to an agreement, had an open, honest discussion with the customer about certain things, and they were able to allow us to relieve us from the contract. And so they just had to de-obligate the money. It was still awarded to us, but they just went with another vendor. So that's the crazy story. But it's a teaching lesson that if you're going to go after opportunities, you have to really understand and know what you're getting yourself into. The more that you prepare, the better. If we would have prepared way in advance, which we responded to the RFI, but even more advanced when you want to price to win versus pricing to the cost of business. And those are things that I would just encourage anyone. If you're going out to biz, have your team ready in advance, have your numbers in advance, make sure those things are solid, and have a contingency backup plan. So that's my story for the night.
Listen, that's a good story. So, it's interesting. By the way, everybody, if you guys don't already know, so this is John. You can follow him on LinkedIn, John Palmer, right there. He just recently, his company just won a $41 million contract with the Department of Veterans Affairs. So just so you guys know exactly who we're talking to here, he didn't just get start there, right? He's come a long way and in a short period of time. And so like that's what we were talking about beforehand was some of the problems. So John, let me ask you a question about that, because a lot of times we think that when we get into those situations that like it's going to be the end of our career in Govcon, right? So
Right.
how did you feel about like you're like, hey man, like oof, you know?
Yeah, man. Well, thank you for that shout out, man. But I would say it was icky feeling because you get the team, we're happy, excited for this huge win. We're prepping, and then I have to be the bearer of bad news, right? Because it eventually falls on me. Although I have people who work in certain departments, it still falls on me. And so for me, it was uncomfortable, but I had to have an honest conversation. And thankfully, um, I had reasonable customers on the other side. Although they work for agency, you're still dealing with people. So back to how you always say it comes to relationships is very important, because when you're upfront, it could help you, but it could go in a different direction if you're not transparent of what you can and cannot do. So it was a little uncomfortable, but thankfully that I had good guidance, I had experience to navigate through that
Right.
situation, to be able to exit. So
How long you been doing GovCon?
we've been in business for 12 years this year.
Okay.
My first federal contract was in 2017. First government contract was in 2015. So I would say about going on 8 or 9 years.
Okay. Nice. Good stuff. Well, no, man, listen, I love it. And you've grown a lot from then and still learning, right? Is it ever in the process?
You got to be forever student in this game. You're not going to know it all.
Right,
You're not.
right, right, right. So what's next for you coming up?
So next, as you shared, our recent award. So we wrap that up. We're starting to hit the ground running for that. Really focusing on technology and really partnerships in that sector to go after new contracts, because we have a Star Street water contract and recently Oasis contract. But things are constantly forever evolving with us because there's so many changes, especially with this new administration.
Yep.
People don't know where the contract bid is going to be. Is it going to be GSA? Is it not? So we just got to be nimble, got to be very versatile and very conservative in our approaches. But constantly moving forward. And that's for us. There's more opportunities this year, increasing our volume of responses to RFQs, RFPs, and then lastly, being very intentional, making new relationships with people within that space. So
Good. Well, happy to know you, my brother. Happy to know you, sir.
likewise,
So
likewise.
thanks, John. I appreciate you coming up and sharing your story. And
No problem.
like I said, everybody, if you guys link up with him on LinkedIn, and I always run into him at the veterans conferences. So, because I don't go into security events. So we just run into each other at the veterans conferences. But link up with them. And John, thanks, man. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right.
Take care.
Take care. All right. So, there's a lot of people out here. And like John said, he just was announced in ABC News, his recent $41 million win, the VA hospital system. And so you really don't even know a lot of times who's behind this stuff. What I like about John sharing is people keep still asking me, is government contracting, happening under this administration? People also, everything is still moving. Just because they change where the money's coming from, where agencies having the money, all this stuff is still happening. It's live, it's vibrant. And the other thing is that if you notice, someone of his caliber that's doing the kind of numbers he's doing is, not afraid to come up here, tell us who he is, and then create more additional opportunities for themselves, because we do have to continually be building relationships with new customers, new agencies, and you just don't know who's watching, right? You have no idea who could be your next potential partner or investor or customer. And so that's why one of the reasons why I found the biggest thing I could do for folks is giving them a platform to come up, talk about who they are, what they do, so other people could see you, and then you guys can work together. Because in my opinion, we're only like one connection away from having that first big success. So, I do want to say that. I do want to bring some more people up on the stage. Just type in govconeric.com/join. It's going to take you to StreamYard, and you just connect your camera and microphone, and then you come up here and talk. So I do want to say that. But it's much easier when people see your face, hear you, to be able to want to do business with you than when they're just reading in the chat. So the chat is good, but coming up here live is better. So I do want to extend an opportunity for folks to come up here and talk. And like I said, let's see how we can help work together, help find you some partners, help find you some people. Dr. Graham, like I said, on product management, SBRs, what we've done, and Dr. Graham and who else looking for data analytics stuff. So I find that a lot of people are, and let me see if I can find this video for you, Dr. Graham. I want to share. A lot of people, SBIRs are very popular, okay? However, I have this video, Dr. Graham, that I'm going to share with you, that when you get a chance to watch, okay, I want you to watch this video, because this video on unsolicited proposals, there's 3 other ways that the government's buying the same technology that you're wanting to offer that's not SBIR. So there's OTA, CSOs, and BAAs. And those are other ways the government is investing and buying the same services, the data analytics, AI. They're doing that all the time using these other methods. So SBIR just happens to be a very popular one. I'm going to drop this in the chat for you, Dr. Graham, because I want you to look at some of these other ways. So, for example, what I was showing you on screen was, so we, Govcon Giants, my organization, we actually work in a lot of those sectors. So if you come here to our website, we explain what is an OTA and how the government uses it and some of the pros and cons. And we get into OTA consortiums and what are consortiums, the consortium model, how that works. And so for us, it's a if you'll see some of the different consortiums that exist out here, there's non-DoD, there's Air Force consortiums. So for us, which is what we actually tell someone, if you're considering the SBIR route, to also look at right BAAs and CSOs. And so let me type it in here for you now. Let's see where I can, by the way, and you can see them in SAM.gov. So you'll see broad agency announcements. I don't want to log into SAM, so I just typed in the search. But you can go to SAM.gov and type in CSOs, right? Commercial Solutions Open. You can type that in, and also BAAs, and you can search that, and you'll see those are where the government's using all of their innovation. Let me show you something, Dr. Graham. So this is something that I always use to show people all the ways that the government procures stuff. And this is called the contracting cone. And so in this contracting cone, you'll see here, right, on the left-hand side is all the FAR-based stuff. And then on the right-hand side, you see FAR-based falls into SBIRs, but you see below it commercial solutions opening, CSO, and you see broad agency announcements. That falls in that same triangle. However, it's not as popular. So let me see if I can bring you up on stage. I see you here. See, I have your camera, but I don't see your microphone. So I feel like you're just missing the connecting the mic. Uh-oh. Wait, there you are?
Did it work? All right.
All right. We got you. All right, good stuff. So good. All right, so I can hear you, which is good. That's good enough. All right, let me take this banner down real quick. All right. So were you familiar with that?
A little bit. I actually spent some time in the federal government with Department of Air Force, the DoD, DCMA.
Yep.
I was in DLA for a little while, and then
Nice.
recently in GSA. I'm familiar with a lot of the contract vehicles and stuff, but
Okay.
now I'm retired and I'm on the other side of it. So.
Yep.
My thing, so my skill set is in, advanced data analytics, getting into the AI thing, project management, certified PMP.
Yep.
And what I'm hoping to do is, I'm in Atlanta along with Eric.
Okay.
We have Georgia Tech, a big research institute. They do a lot of SBIR. Hoping to work that way to help bring technology to starting with the federal government, then maybe, Fed, state, local.
Yes.
And then, it's already been mentioned in the chat about, doing some teaming, trying to do that, support other contracts. Like, glad to hear. It's inspiring to hear that, John, that you won that contract with the VA. That sort of thing. Just now starting to get into it. I understand it from the other side, but now trying to, get in and, work it with the skill set that I have and teaming partners.
So a couple things. One, if definitely we should connect with our team offline because as we're actively pursuing, so again, we're not pursuing SBIRs, and and the reason why is because SBIRs only come out on a periodic basis, right? Every quarter, right? So whereas BAAs, CSOs, OTAs, they are open until the problem is solved. So what we found is that we can, if we have a solution, we will call the agency and say, hey, is this CSO still applicable? Is the BAA still applicable? Or you're still looking for solutions? So you can essentially send on white papers or quad charts, right, at any time during that cycle. Whereas with the SBIR, it's more on a fixed schedule. When the window opens, you respond, and then it closes. And then, does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely it does.
So that's why we don't limit ourselves to SBRs and we focus more on BAA, CSOs, OTAs because they're open and the consortiums, particularly the OTAs, they're just looking for solutions all the time. So what we actually, just so you know, I have a partnership with the University of Florida's College of Engineering, where we work with their professors and we are taking their research to the federal agencies. But what we're doing is we're researching and saying, okay, like right now, we know that SOCOM is looking for a particular solution. And so we turn to the people in our database to see who may be doing research in that area. And then we make the introduction to SOCOM.
Nice.
So if you want to, Randy and Zach from my team, they're the ones that handle all of the university partnerships. We could definitely talk to you about that. And then again, it doesn't take anything. If you've got areas of research that people that you're working with, we can, while we're out, I mean, right now we have something that SOCOM is looking for a solution for, like now. And so a lot of it, like you said, is going to be in AI, quantum computing, machine learning, all that stuff, right? The what do they call it now? They call it the critical, I think it's the critical technology areas is what they call it. The 14 DoD critical technology areas. So that's the areas where, in particular, the government is looking for help. So in any of these areas, anybody watching this, right, if you've got research and solutions in those areas, then they're definitely looking for help. Now, I want to say something else. This is also important to know. So when you're working with people, okay, you want to know, right, their TRL level. So anyone who's in the tech space, just keep this in mind. The government is going to ask you this question. So you want to be prepared. It's called technology readiness levels. So particularly when you work with university professors, so at the lowest level 1 is like principles observed, concepts, experimental. But then, now it's like, okay, you've tested in a laboratory environment at 4, and then 5, you tested it in a relevant environment. So a lot of times what I found is, and it's, just again, without asking a whole lot of questions, the more theory research, the lower the TRL level, then yes, that's more like SBR. But if you have people that have already tested in the lab and now they want to test it in a real environment to go to like contract, more prototyping, then you go to more of a CSO, BAA, because they're looking for something that's a solution that just needs to be tested in a government environment, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's excellent, Eric.
Okay, so and by the way, I don't know how I know all this stuff. I just, I honestly don't know how I know all this stuff, but that's why I'm like, hey man, people, like come up here and ask questions so I can at least impart the information that I do have on you, so that you can have some more information. Because I can tell you this, literally, we had a pitch, and by the way, right now, the federal agencies are still doing pitch days on technology solutions. I did one a few weeks ago, and unfortunately, the professor that I brought, and the reason why I'm telling you this now is because I did not prep him, right? I didn't prep him for the call. So he gets on, and the first thing the government says is, okay, what TRL level this is. And he didn't know the answer. He didn't know what to say. And so he goes, well, he says, I don't know what you mean. So, and then when they ask him, they go, well, we're looking for solutions. We're not looking for research. So even though it's R&D money, we're not looking for the research part. We need stuff that we can actually implement today. And so we ended up wasting everybody's time on that call, essentially. But now I know to prep people, because some things that I take for granted that, I just, they said they have the technology, they said the government could use it, but I didn't think to ask what TRL they were at in order for the conversation they're getting ready to have. So now I say this because I want people to know, if you're in this space and you're considering taking this approach, just know where you stand so that you can kind of have that, the customer that's interested at that different level. And I mean, there's people that are interested at the, like, for example, basic research. We do have government customers that want basic research. I've talked to them. But then you have people that actually want solutions that are ready to go into practical environments. So any questions for me?
No, that's a lot of good information there, right there, Eric. I do want to reach out to you, you and your team. So,
Okay.
so thank you.
No problem. Like I said, I'll drop my email in the chat, and I will connect you with, particularly, just send me an email and ask to connect with Zach. He's the one that works with the universities, and like I said, we already have. In fact, I'll show you an example. Let's see if I can show you, just so you can kind of see. Um, I can't find it right away. I'll find it. I was trying to show an example of kind of some of the stuff that we're working on. But if you look at, here, I'll just pull it up. So this is who we're working with right now at the University of Florida. It's called FINS, the Florida Institute for National Security. So we work with this particular group and helping them, bring their technologies and research to the government. And by the way, I love Georgia Tech. I think they've got a great group out there. But to me, what I've found is that still, when you work with the universities, they are bureaucratic as well, similar to government, and they work in silos. And so, what we had to do was get someone from the university to be a liaison for us to connect us with the professors, because it's just really hard knowing what everyone's working on, and I see that they don't have a good job of cataloging it and the research, and so it's just, we had to have a liaison to help us get through that. So just want to say that, just some road bumps that I've faced going on this path.
Good stuff, Eric. Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you. No, listen, thanks for coming up. I appreciate you. And then, like I said, I dropped my email in the chat, and I'll be happy to connect with you afterwards. All right. So who else is going to come up? All right. Jerry Ladd. No, you can't say TRL 10. No one has a TRL 10. All right. Who else is going to come up? Right here. Just type in govconeric.com/join. I'll bring you up stage, and we can have a conversation about your proposals, RFPs, mistakes, or things that you're looking to do. All right. I'm going to put the spec on here. All right. I'm going to put down here below. I see a lot of people are shy. They're afraid to ask questions. So I will put this down below for those of you who are afraid to ask questions. But I will say this. Again, if you want, you're looking to talk about wanting to win contracts, you want to do millions of dollars, right? Well, this is where it starts. Come up on stage, having a conversation, tell us what you got going on, and let's see how we can help fix it. So, who else? What are you working on? Okay. I'm still looking in the chat. I don't see anything that anybody needs help on. So you guys are all good. Anything else? All right. I mean, I can get everybody back the rest of the evening. Jerry Latt, where you been? What you working on, buddy? Martin Lowe, come on up. Martine. You just established your business, you want to know how to start bidding. So one of the things that we tell people, first of all, I mean, it's interesting. Marty Lowe, come on up. We want to help you set up an assessment call, and we'll go over the steps. But for us, what we typically do is we walk everyone through. This is the plan that we use, and this is the plan that we use for people. So again, here's the steps that we go through. Bidding is sort of a open-ended word, right? So Martin Lowe, I tell you what, you're having a hard. Okay. So yeah, I mean, you tell me, Martin Lowe, if you want. Again, I want you to come up stage so we could talk through some stuff. But if you need to call us so that you can set up an actual call, I'm trying to. Here's my email and a phone number below. You could call us. We are offering free assessment calls. So if you would like for us to assess your business where you're at and offer some tips, strategies, then we'll do that. So that's available. We'll plug that in there for people who want that. Okay. Yeah, we'll be happy to mentor you. I mean, we're training thousands of people all the time. Michael Durr, you want a good factoring company. So we work with a company. Tell us. So I'll show you who we work with. Mm-mm. Bum, 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 bum. All right. So Michael Durr, this is who we work with, Encore Funding. So that's who I would recommend. All right. So that's who we work with, Encore Funding. All right. Martin Lowe, drop me your email. We'll have somebody reach out to you. How's that? For those of you, one of the things that, again, maybe you've never seen it before. I don't see any questions. I don't see any comments. Yeah, I'm not sure why she can't figure out. Tim Crow, tell me what business you're in. Again, it helps when you tell me the business that you're in, what you do, and where you're from. Those 3 pieces of information is very important to me, right? Because if somebody says I want to get into the DoD space, like Tim, I don't know what business he wants to get into. I don't know what he wants to sell. I don't know his background. There's a lot of different strategies that I could talk to you about, but I need to know. So, for example, John Palmer, he does security services. Jerry Ladd does AI. The doctor that was just up here, he wants to do SBIRs. So there's a lot of different things that when you say this, it's a big term, right? All right. So what is it? I'm trying to figure out what is it that the person does. So Michael Durr, you do logistics. What does that mean, right? So let me just explain. Logistics is everything from Crowley's trucks on the road to moving spaceships from their facilities to the launch pad. So there's logistics. We have companies that actually stock the groceries in some of the commissaries. They call that logistics. We have people that move furniture for the Pentagon. They call that logistics. So when people say these terms, this is what I mean. right? You have to clearly define it because, again, I've had podcast guests came on that move people in the White House. They move people out the White House, which is called logistics contracts. I've had people that ship things to places. They call that logistics contracts. So, John Parman said safety solutions. There you go. He corrected me. Safety solutions, but yes, security is included. All right. Somebody said, back here in live. I'm jumping on stage really quick. Come on up stage so we can have a conversation. So then when you come up here and I see your face, right, it makes it easier for me to introduce you to people, to connect you with people when we do that. So, all right. So Tim Crow says, I'm transportation. I've been a truck driver for 20 years. I've done DOD, but only at trucking level. All right. You let Encore know we come from Govcon Giants. Yes. Yeah, definitely let them know you came from Govcon Giants. Actually, on their site, when you get on there, Encore Funding, you'll see on there it talks about it'll when it drop down menu, it'll say how you hear about them, and you just put Govcon Giants. So, all right. Well, listen, I tell you what, I'm not going to force anybody to come up, but if anybody wants to, we'll do. I'll be back Wednesday. We'll do another session, and hopefully, some people will get the chance to come up here and ask some questions, so that we can have some more engagement. But like I said, one of the things that I would recommend, particularly this is a challenge that I've seen with a lot of new people, is that they're very afraid to look silly or to look, they call it look dumb, or and that I see stops people from, that's that fear that no one even has to not award you a contract. They just paralyze you by making you afraid to ask people questions, so you don't even bother trying. And so if you wanted to know the truth, what I feel about the hardest thing about getting started is people are afraid to ask questions. They're afraid to say who they are, what they do. And so if you want to know really where you should start with your pitch. Start with, you see what John came on and said? Start with tell people who you are, what you do, where you're from, and let them know how they can help you. So if you want to know how do you get started in this industry, practice that. Because if you think that I'm just going to sit behind a computer and email and message and that's going to save me business, that's not going to help you get any deals. So what's going on, man?
Eric, hey man. Hey, look, thanks for doing it, man. You're an amazing guy and this very knowledgeable. I'll get straight to it.
No, listen, we could wrap. No worries. I'm in no hurry, brother. Hey, listen, man. I'm in no hurry. I'll take the compliments.
There you go.
But no, yeah, no, definitely. We just found so much value to this, right? Because other people can hear and learn from the same questions, right? As opposed to if we do this privately, then I feel like I'm spending a lot of my time and not servicing enough people, because we have a big platform. We gotta try to service a lot of people. So, but no, talk to me. Tell me where you're coming from. Where you at? Where you based out of?
Good point. DC area. So Washington DC metro area, absolutely. So I'm new to the owner game here, Eric. Not new to the Govcon game. I've been in and out of the Govcon game from a staffing perspective and also from a PM perspective within DoD. And so decided to launch my own company. And doing that, right? Program management is so broad. So program management specifically within what I've done was the Army medical incentives. So like Army recruiters go out and recruit medical professionals to join the National Guard, and then they get paid, like they either get their loans repaid, they get special bonus pays, stuff like that. And so back, I don't know if you heard about this, but back in like early 2000s, I think it was, this recruiter ended up stealing all this money, and these medical professionals weren't getting paid because the Army, National Guard, or whatever, they didn't have a program set in place where they can audit this stuff that was going out. And so my team came in around 2013, 14, and 15, and we essentially cleaned that up. There was a backlog of medical professionals that weren't getting paid, thousands and thousands of medical professionals. So we came in and we audited, we reviewed all the paperwork coming in. And so that's the type of program management that I did at DOD. And now going to RPA, robotic process automation, I sort of came across an individual who became an associated partner of mine, and now I have an RPA team in place, which cuts back on the recruiting aspect of things to sort of put in place and implement into any government contract. So now my question to you here, Eric, would be, throughout my years in GovCon, I've been able to develop connections and relationships, great relationships in industry as well as in different agencies. Now, how do I divide my time? I'm having trouble with that because right now I'm responding to sources, thoughts, RFIs, trying to figure out how to balance reaching out to all these connections and contacts I have. What do I have to offer, right? I have 0 contracts. How do I go about doing
that? So you said that you have, so you said you respond to RFI, you respond to sources, thoughts, right? That's what you said.
Yes, sir.
Okay, but then you said you have 0 past experience. That's performance.
No, 0. Well, I have the past performance. You're right, but I don't have any active contracts.
But I mean, no one has active contracts when they start. You know what I mean? Like, no one has active contracts when they start. So the thing is this: most of the people. So I don't know if you know this about me. I've done 300 episodes of my podcast, Govcon Giants, and so I get to pull from all that knowledge from all these small businesses that grew really big. What I've seen, right, is that most of the companies that I've interviewed who went into the 8A program, particularly, I just say that because of it's very widely known, they got someone like you, a subject matter expert, to run that division. So they may have got into that line of work, but someone like you ran it for them. Does that make sense? Yeah. So it's not that they necessarily had the prerequisite experience. They went and got a guy like you and then hired you, and then you ran that portfolio of projects. So what I'm suggesting is this. What you probably want to find out, for me, this is what I always suggest, is I let the market research dictate my activities. So who has the contracts that you want? Who has them? Do you know who has them?
I do have a list. Yeah, I went on, FedBiz, USpending.gov. So I kind of did research on that list. Yeah.
So you know who has the contracts that you want? I'm talking about the agencies or the people. Like which? Are you talking about the offices that have them, or are you talking about the companies that have them? Which ones do you know?
Mostly companies, because on the agency side, I'm trying to get back into the National Guard Bureau, and I have a good connection in there. But it's almost like, okay, how do I pitch it?
No. Sort of? But the thing is this: if you know the companies who have the contract side, I would personally, I'm telling you this because a lot of the companies, they do not do this. They have someone like you running this group, this portfolio. So I would honestly reach out to them and offer my services as a subcontractor.
Sure.
Because what you want to do is you want to get yourself in front of a client who you could then show how great you are.
Yeah.
Speaking
of client, how do I? Because I'm almost like, so I'm on the owner side now, where before I was on the PM side and I was talking to the core, I was talking to the representatives, the colonels, you name it. So now I'm thinking, okay, so I had a meeting with the director of small businesses. Do I straight up reach and say, hey, can you give me the name of the core so I can kind of pitch my services? How do I go about
Absolutely. So what we typically do, and let me see if I can pull this up for you. Hold on. Hopefully I still have it up here. So this is what I say to anybody. Let me just remove this. Stop sharing. All right. Now, so for me, this is what I use to tell people when you can talk to folks. So I typically look at, like you said, if you know something is coming up or it's in the forecast, being forecasted to be done, right? As long as it's in the acquisition planning phase, you can talk to anybody you want. Does that make sense? So
it? Makes perfect sense.
Yeah. So as long as it's in the acquisition planning phase, then yes, you could call them and say, "Hey, I want to talk to the core on that."
What if it's, for example, existing contract that's already being worked, and I have ideas on how to better that contract? Reach out to the core or reach out to the current company having that contract?
Well, that's a tricky one, which is a good question. Because unfortunately, if the contract's already being worked, I don't necessarily see the advantage of you helping the company improve it. Okay. Sure. And I'll tell you why. Let me give you a story to go with that. By the way, I have a lot of stories, just so you know. So one of my guests came on here, and they were working this big project. And they actually told me that sometimes being the incumbent works against you. And you say, what? How does that make sense? And he says, because we did this project for the government. We knew about all the issues and the challenges with it. So when it came up for rebid, right, we put all of that in there when they put in the new bid. You follow me, AJ? Yeah. So, but guess what? They lost. I said, well, how did they lose? The government didn't ask for Mercedes. They asked for a Toyota. So the government did not want to pay for all those things. So even though they knew of all the problems, it worked against them because the person bidding against them just bid the scope, not the problems. They bid the scope and the problems that they knew they were going to encounter. So, that to me is not necessarily what they want to hear unless they ask for that in the form of an RFI, right? Or like you said, if you're you could go talk to the customer about it, but I don't see the value of necessarily the existing incumbent, you telling them about the problems with the contracts, how to fix them, because I don't know that it matters, because if the government won't pay for it, then it doesn't matter. But if you could, I would suggest maybe talking to the end user of that might be the best bet, because I don't think that the core cares per se, but I think the end user probably cares the most.
Of course.
So that would be the person that I would talk to, is the end user, right? Which, by the way, everybody listen to this. You should do that anyways, because when you're looking at on your, what we call your bid, no bid here. Hold on. Where'd it go? So when you're looking here on your bid, no bid framework, you check all these boxes, which is having in-house experience and your technically superior, but also get working relationships and knowing the customer's needs, right? So that's important. Inside track, good workup. So having that information is super important. But I just think what happens is your question makes sense, but you just want to talk. You're talking to the wrong people. You're not talking to the people that actually care about the problem. Does that make you follow? Like, that person doesn't necessarily care. I'm not saying they don't.
In order to get to the end user, because in this case, I don't know how to get to the end user. I used to know the end users back when I was running the program, because I know the program inside and out. And I think that these services that I have now will prove extremely beneficial. But to get to that end, because as you know, in the military, they have rotations. So the end users are no longer the people that I used to know.
Got you. So then a couple things you could do. Again, you can start off, if you know that, I would start with the small business office, right? And then if you want to go higher, you could go to a PCR.
Mm-hmm.
All right, go to a PCR. Most people don't even use. Most people on here have never even heard the word PCR. They don't even know what it means or what to do with the person. So I'll pull it up. You're looking a little bit puzzled.
Yeah, I'm one of them.
Huh? You're one of there you go. All right. So let me pull this up. But hold on, let me pull this up for you. Let me help you out real quick.
Appreciate it.
All right. So most people, I keep switching screens again. All right. So let's see, how can I make this bigger? So the SBA has something called procurements. Hold on. All right. It's not letting me make it big enough. All right. So here's just an example. I'll just pull this up. So the SBA has something called PCR, right? Procurement Center Representative. And so when you see here, the PCR, and by the way, SBLO is only for government people, just so you know. So SBLO is for ARW Solutions. SBLO applies to companies like Northrop Grumman, Boeing. They have SBLOs. Agencies don't typically have SBLOs. But a PCR is different than an OSTBU office, and their roles are different as well. So they play in SBA. So you'll see here. So you see when they're part of their jobs includes market research tools, federal procurement training, right? So internal acquisition strategies. So that is someone who, if we look at, you said, and let's just type in. Let's just go in and look at the directory. So you can just type in SBA procurement directory, and then we can look at what area. What you said? What area are you calling from? What is the opportunity? What state? What state? Any particular state? Are you there? Uh-oh. Did he freeze? Did I freeze? Well, I'll just pull up for reference. I just typed in National Guard just to show everybody. So here on the National Guard, you see Mr. Con Nugent is the contact for the National Guard. And so I would be talking to him about some of these particular situations I'm dealing with, trying to get hold of the National Guard. Okay, he froze. All right. But I'll pull him down for now until he comes back. But essentially, again, when you come up here, like, I could give you some game and send you in the right direction. I just can't do that from you guys sitting off to the side. There was somebody else up here waiting to come on, and it looks like we lost him. Okay. Looks like my man's back. All right. You're back.
There we go.
Okay.
You
all right, cool.
What state it was? I guess it's Virginia, Eric.
All right. So I pulled up. So what I did, I just pulled up the PCR representative directory. And so I just typed in National Guard.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw Mr. Con Nugent as the PCR rep for the SBA Area 1 National Guard. So let me see. Let me see if they have Virginia. Okay. Virginia's Area 2. So these are the people that cover Virginia. Do they have someone for the National Guard in Virginia? Okay, here. So Army and Air National Guard DC. This lady covers that PCR area. Okay. See that?
And then, hold on, are you sharing?
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. I wasn't sharing. Hold on. All right, there you go. So I typed in National Guard, and I went to DC. So this lady right here for Ms. Shaquanda Williams, PCR. This is her number, her email, and she covers Army and Air National Guard DC. Great place to start.
Awesome. So she would be a resource to
she would be somebody
find
to
out
call.
more.
Yeah, so that because you were trying to figure out who should you talk to. You said you don't know the end user. So one thing that I like to do, and I'm going to say this to everybody, okay? I like to personally start at the top. So what I mean by that is, don't get me wrong. I always tell people, you call a small business office, call the, Ostabu, blah, blah, blah. But also you could call the small business office out of DC, from DC specifically, and let them start pointing you down in the right directions. I found that to be very helpful because a lot of people are calling their local small business office, right? Which again, we talk about that as well. But if you have challenges there, I go to DC and then let them send me down. But again, I have very good relations also with the small business person from the National Guard is Kyle Beagle right now. And I know Kyle very well. Kyle came to my conference.
I had a meeting with Kyle. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Kyle came to my conference. Kyle and I have been to several events together. So, I know Kyle very well, and he's a great resource. So for me, if, like you said, so let's go back to what you said. You don't know the end user. So let's go in. So hold on, let me get these people. So I think the problem with you guys, you're saying your phone is giving restrictions coming on stage. You're not calling the number through your phone. You got to go through the internet, through your website. Right? Hey, did you have any problem getting up here on stage?
No, not at all. You just got to go to different browsers.
Yeah.
Takes you to a different
so if
browser.
you go to a browser right here, if you go to your browser, type in Govcon Eric right here, .com, right, /join. If you type that on your browser, it pops up the link. Here, I'm going to show you guys. If you go here, type in your browser, right here, just type this in your browser, and hit join. This is what you'll see on the screen. It'll pop up a link like this, and it'll say entering studio. That's it. So, all right, let's keep solving your problem. All right, so now, so you said some of the, and I, by the way, I would not. So two things that I heard you say. One is I do have someone that used to place medical people overseas for the government contracts. So they would hire doctors and nurses and stuff to work at overseas contracts. I don't know if that would be helpful to you, but I do know someone who ran, those kind of programs for several years that I could connect you with. Okay. Roberta Moore. She was on my podcast twice. So I don't know if that's something that is similar in your scope of what you did before, but they had a contract where they were placing all of the doctors and nurses and staff overseas. Would that be of any assistance to you?
Were these people, well, they would have to be service members, right? So they were recruited into the National Guard.
I think these were contractors. I don't think they were service members.
Contractors, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they were service members. So you're saying your only thing only works with service members for your solution?
Yeah, because this would be the incentives that are provided to these individuals being recruited into the National Guard. So they were medical professionals turned reserve or active within the National Guard.
Okay. And you said that so is there anyone else? So you know what offices are buying it, right? You know what specific office are issuing the contracts?
Yeah, same place where I was running the program.
Where you're at
correct.
before? Okay, so you know the office.
Yeah.
But you don't know the
Yeah.
end user.
I think, but the end user would be essentially these medical professionals, but that's who would benefit the most. But the program itself is run by either contractors and guardsmen and women as well that are, I don't know if that makes sense.
So yeah, but I'm trying to figure out who do you want to be your customer? Do you want to be the one to take over that program and run it?
Yes.
So then you want to replace the incumbent contractor.
Absolutely.
Okay. When is their contract up for renewal?
When I looked it up, I think it's actually completed, is what I found. Is all I've been able to find is that it's completed. So I don't know who's running it right now. I don't know if it's even being run. It has to be, because somebody has to be running it, but I don't know.
And so then when you spoke to, I guess when you spoke to the office, they couldn't tell you who was running it. No one could tell you that.
No, so my man Kyle's computer froze on me, so he couldn't tell me. We started talking about something else.
Okay, no, I'm just saying, because I mean that would be, that would help you in your. I mean, it sounds like to me you just need some more research.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like
I need to
issue to me just
reach
sounds
back
like you just
out.
need,
I think to
it sounds like possibly who?
Kyle.
Yeah, I mean, start with Kyle. Definitely start with Kyle, but I mean, Kyle has got to know who's running that program, man. Man, listen. So once you know who's running the program, I don't think you have a hard thing to solve here. It's just you just need to get information who's running the program so you could talk to them. Okay, so there's some other things.
So that's my thing.
I mean, that information is public somewhere. That information is public. What happens when you went to FPDS? You couldn't find it? It was not an FPDS.
Well, all I found was that the contract was completed as of 2024.
Call back to Kyle, try the PCR, and if that doesn't work, I would call National Guard and DC.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like to me, you just have to. The good thing about your situation is you're only going after one thing, which I love, because it's just a matter of like, let's figure out who it is we need to talk to, so you can start having a conversation with them, right?
Yeah, and that's what I wanted to do, Eric. I wanted to really focus and hone in on one thing at first, right? So I'm not too
perfect. No, that is perfect. I like that. So I mean, you sound like you have it's a pretty easy situation to resolve, but
easier said than done, I think.
Well, I'm going to say this:
easier done than said. I don't know.
Yeah, easier than the other 35 people on this call who just say, "I want to do government contracts," without having any such direction. You know who you want to work with. You know the program. You have a solution, so it makes it a lot easier, right? So now you're just like, who do I need to talk to? So I gave you a couple other resources. Like I said, you could try the PCR, right? There's no forecast list of it coming up. This Kyle, they don't have a forecast list for National Guard. No. Uh-oh, Martin Lowe, I see it. All right, I'm going to bring him down. All right, Martin Lowe, I see you now. I can't hear you. Whistler, I see you.
What's up, Eric?
You? Hey, what's going on? All right, there we go. Now I got you.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Hold on. Wait, let me see. All right. AG, you keep freezing on me.
Yeah, I know, man. I'm sorry. Thank you for
No
everything.
worries.
I heard everything, man. I'm gonna go do it.
Yeah, no, go do it. Trace a PCR, Kyle, and then go to the headquarters. And then, like I said, tell Kyle that you was talking to Eric Coffin. Eric Coffin said, "Hey, he told me." Hey,
I'm gonna tell you, you better give me some names, Kyle. Eric's gonna go get you.
Eric said, "Hey, Eric said he taught." There you go. So yeah,
I'm
man.
I'm gonna drop your name, Eric. You gave me
Drop my
permission to
name.
drop your name, so I'm gonna do
Drop it. Drop my name. I have no problem with that. Drop my name. All right. Thank you, man. Appreciate you, AG. I want to hear back from you. All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, brother. All right. What's going on, my man?
Not a whole lot, man. I know you responded back to me through a chat earlier this morning. I had asked a question in regards to going to the Army base, and you referenced Ryan's replay call.
Yes.
Yeah. So I appreciate that. I still have that on the list. But
Okay.
first and foremost, man, thanks for all the game, man. I've been following you for a little minute now, and try to pull, not necessarily trying. I'm in the process of pulling the trigger and trying to make something happen. So really, my whole thoughts for getting on this this live is just to see how I get some guidance. I'll tell you what I've done so far. A little bit of codes all over the place. I've bidded on contracts in sam.gov. I've went the route of meeting with business owners, for as a consultant and whatnot. Even did that today. I had a call with some guy that's in the research development space, but ultimately my skill set lies in management. Collectively I was in the mortgage business during COVID, and I spent like 4 or 5 years in mortgage business. And in the span of 2.5-3 years, I managed a team of 30 loan officers, and we funded over $1 billion in business. And that was just all as a result of me onboarding people, training them, and managing people all throughout the United States. So I have a good skill set in management as well as sales, and I know how to get things done. So my concept, at least for my business going into the consulting, the government contracting space, is that of starting my own management consulting firm. So not exactly sure what lever, what route to take. My thought process is, okay, just get started. See if I can get a contract or land the client, and then everything else will unfold from there. But that said, you're the expert. And I'd be happy to get some wisdom, if you're in my position, on what you would do.
So you're a veteran?
No, sir. No veteran.
What made you ask about the Ryan's thing going on base?
Because I submitted a bid to Warner Robins for material handling equipment, basically manage all their forklifts and different earth moving material. And I figured, if I can get on base, I don't know if, what the process is. I was going to look into it before actually going, but figured if I could go in and have a conversation with somebody, I'm pretty good at closing deals, and I could figure something else out just to do something. But that was my thought process.
Okay. So absolutely can. Hold on one second. You made it up here, by the way. I see you. You made it, Martilo. I see you. You did not give up, so you made it. So I just want you to know, I see you down there. All right, I'm gonna put you back down, but I see you. Okay.
Yes.
All right. I see you though. All right. So now it's interesting because so you, given that skill set that you said, and that you can get on base, you get on Warner Robins. I actually do think that Ryan's strategy is for people that can do the skills that you said. I think Ryan's strategy is by the way, where are you located physically?
Kennesaw, Georgia.
Kennesaw, Georgia. Okay. I had somebody from Kennesaw the other day.
Yeah. Ella, I think her name was Ella.
I had somebody from Kennesaw the other day. Yeah, that's what I could have said. So I do like Ryan's strategy. And I'll tell you because, it's something I personally done it in a different way. So the reason why I like Ryan's strategy the best is because Ryan's strategy is meant for people who, like you said, you're going to go on the base, you're going to talk to some people there about products that they're not being able to get fulfilled, and then you're gonna say, okay, we're gonna help you fulfill them, and we take you through that process of getting the product listed publicly as a bid, and then essentially, because no one knows what's the product number, essentially it's like a sole source to you.
Okay.
So that allows you to create your own opportunities at Warner's, and this is something that there's only a handful of companies that are doing this in the country. So if you believe that you could consistently get on Warner's, right? That's why I say it's a strategy that works a lot for veterans, because they can go on and off base with no problem, right? So it works for them because they can go on base, they can go talk to people, they go to the shops and just talk about, hey, there's some product. I'm sure you got some stuff that you've been trying to get fulfilled. You're having a hard time getting fulfilled. Let me help see if I can get it sourced for you. And that's really what you do.
Gotcha.
In a nutshell. So I love that strategy, especially for, someone like you said that you could do that. I love it for you. Now, again, I don't know how to get you on base consistently if you're not a veteran.
Sure.
So that's why it's not something that I actively tout, because it's for non-veterans, because you have to be able to get on base to do this. Yeah. Otherwise, you can't. It doesn't work. So, again, obviously, I love consulting. I still consult today. I've been consulting for 20 years. Now, management consulting is a little bit different. Thanks, Dr. Graham. Take care. Now, management consulting is a little different, because when I hear management consulting, I think about like the big consulting firms like Deloitte, SAIC, some of the big boys that do a lot of that program management stuff. That's another area also where the government, if you want to do that specifically under contracts, they're looking to cut back management consulting under this current administration.
Right. That's why.
So
yeah.
So that,
yeah.
And in that regard, for me, I don't know about that, but if given that you said that you've managed, like, for example, the mortgage business and office, there are people, I know this for a fact because I have people in Atlanta that do this. There are companies that essentially are big primes that they cannot find subcontractors to help them meet their goals and do the work.
Okay.
There's a lot of them, right? And for example, so if you have that ability, I always say, I like consulting because it's really like, I find that business owners are busy running the business. So if they can't go out, and if they're already busy, to go out and try to go focus on something else. So it's like, I will take care of that headache for you.
Mm-hmm.
And I will just bring you deals. So if I'm telling you, for example, Whistler, I can introduce you to someone in our group that works with several companies in Atlanta. They're always looking for subcontractors. I can make that connection in 2 seconds, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, imagine if you had a client that was a $5 or $10 million HVAC company or roofing company, right? And then now you like, okay, here my client is this XYZ company. And now the person in Atlanta who needs that kind of company services. So I just see that so often. And I remember a long time ago, this guy that I used to work out in the gym with, and I was like, what's your business? He goes, man, I just connect people together. And I go, what do you mean? He's like, man, hey, this guy say he need a roofer, I get a roofer. He say he need a concrete guy, I get a concrete guy. And that's it. And I was like, really? He's like, yeah, because the guy who needs the people, he ain't got time to go look for them and vet them. And the people that do this kind of work, they busy working. So no one is really, those people are just busy working because they got to make money.
Right.
And the guy who's running his projects is busy working. He don't have time to, he's doing the best that they can. But I've just seen that so much value in that across every industry, every sector, every space. I mean, everything, not just government contract, like just the whole world, like, like even mortgage business.
I mean, I'll validate that point and keep that thought. What I do during the day, I work for a private company where we connect essentially the motto is we make executives better. So in order for me to have a conversation with a particular executive, your company has to do at least $5 billion in revenue for me to have a conversation. And ultimately there's programming. There's a lot of similarities within GovCon as far as what we do or that company does, but ultimately where a lot of people get the benefit is like you're talking about is connecting. So say if somebody's a CEO, but they need to speak to the one of the top chief human resource officers at another company doing 40-50 billion, we're able to make those connections for whatever reason. So
because that guy don't have time.
Right. That is a great point.
You know what I mean? So that's the same thing that happens, by the way. That's an industry thing.
Right.
Like that, honestly, and all across all the industries, I see this everywhere, So, I mean, people that make loans do that, right? What does a mortgage broker do? You go out and shop, right? The different products.
And you connect the dots. Yeah.
You connect the dots, not because like I don't have time to go shop all these different products. I come to you, you shop them, and then you give me the best solution.
Right.
So it's the same thing. So for me, like I said, we love consulting. I love it even more now than I've ever loved it before, because if you heard the live, we start talking about what's happening with the baby boomers and the wealth transition. So to me, starting as a consultant with a solid company, it's going to likely be a baby boomer.
Yeah.
And when you go in there with who you are, with your kind of attitude, you're going to get the same response like me. They're going to offer you to want to come in. Once you just run the company, take over, you're gonna have that will happen to you.
Yeah.
I'm telling you what happened to you.
I mean, that's the thing is, I have to talk to you offline at some point. I know you're going to be here. Hopefully I can catch you when you're here in Georgia.
Okay.
But I have an idea as far as what phases I want to take, everything, taking all that in consideration. So that's a down the line. So I'm tracking with you. So,
Okay. Yeah. No, I mean, obviously, listen, this, you told me what you did with the mortgage. You tell me what you're doing now. So obviously you are in that realm. So we just got to do it where, like you said, you're now getting the credit for it, right? On your, that's the part you're missing.
Man, I'm telling you, man, because I tell you, and I had a conversation with a guy who was doing something essentially along the same timeline. I funded more business than he did, but he made $500,000 or $600,000 extra more than I did.
Right.
And I worked maybe an extra 20, 30 hours a week than he did.
Right.
So, when I put all that together, and I'm like, all right, then I got to find something else.
That was the difference, right?
Yeah.
That was a difference.
Yeah.
No, I can tell. And by the way, this happens to all of us.
Yeah.
This is not a phenomenon that you're the unicorn. It happens to all of us, right? This is why I exist. This is why I came on and did this channel. That's why I do this stuff, because I want to give us real examples of real people that look like us that do this kind of stuff, so that you can see, like, you do the same amount of work, but what happens is you're not getting paid for the work. You're getting paid for the responsibility and the liability. And that's what he took on that you didn't have. That's why he made the extra money.
Yeah.
But the work part, it was the same, or even your work was probably harder than his work, but he took on the responsibility. And that's what everyone out here listening to this, I hope you take away from it. So, if you're just that's the big differentiator. That's it. Set it up an LLC, put it in your name, and then now it's you taking on that headache, but you taking on the rewards as well. So I'll be in, like I said, we're gonna be in Atlanta May 2nd through the 4th. So for that event.
So just to make sure I'm tracking with it, because again, I'm still working on putting the pieces together. So you say, if I'm hearing you correctly, the thing would be is to look at primes that need help.
So I would honestly, like I said, I like consulting route for you. I would be a consultant. What I would say, again, like I said, for me, I could connect you with Tony and Elle in our group, but essentially I know for a fact they've got primes that need help. I'm just telling you at a high level, right? So me, I would be a consultant working with someone who wants to expand their business. But if you already had primes that needed help, it's an easy link for you. Now, I'm not saying you have to do that first. I'm just saying that because of your unique situation that you happen to be in Kennesaw, Georgia, I just happen to know that there are people that are looking for more subs. Now, Atlanta also is competitive, so maybe everybody there is like they don't need help. I find that hard to believe just because, like you said, when you deal with billion-dollar companies, they need help. So I can't imagine this $20 million, $10 million, $5 million guy don't need help.
Yeah.
So, but again, I think that I would start off as consultant, and like you said, if you get a consultant client, it tells you you can start doing the lessons to get in the game. Right now, you don't have any reason to actually do the activities to get into the game.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, but if you had someone that was doing $5 million that you were working with, then you'd be like, okay, now I got to take this. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a mindset thing.
So I'm glad you mentioned this because I've been throttling back and forth with this idea because, like I mentioned, I had a call today with a client who was looking for somebody who does capture management, right? So I put a fill out there, came across them, and interestingly enough, the call went in a good direction. Got another call set up, and we'll see where it goes from there. But the main thing, I have this guy who's told me he's all in. We haven't necessarily talked as far as me coming in as a consultant to get paid because I'm really not sure how the government will buy his business. But came across this guy at Home Depot, and we had a conversation. Ended up following up with him a week later, and basically what he does is waterproofing and re-roofing. So he's of the principle that it doesn't make sense. A lot of roofs can be simply improved versus just being replaced. So he's all game. For me, it's like, okay, how do I find, or what agencies do I look for to see? Because my thought is, okay, if this guy's giving me his word that he said, hey man, if you got work, I'm willing to do the work, however we can make this come to life.
So, by the way, that's good. The problem is, so this is one thing that I tell, again, everybody listen to this, listen closely. I do not take any type of ideas to the government. I only come to them with stuff they want to buy.
Sure.
Don't do that. I'm gonna tell you why. By the way, I have a $10 million roofing client myself. He recommends waterproofing and improving it. The government don't want that.
Yeah.
So it's not for you to come up here and be like, hey, this is a better product. This is no, they want what they put on that piece of paper, and that's what they're gonna pay you for. Now, again, this is controversial. This is kind of why Doge exists, because it is very inefficient.
Yeah.
It's definitely not efficient, because why should we tear a whole roof off, throw all that waste away in the dumpsters, pollute our environment when you can waterproof it, use less people, less time, less money, and still seal the roof? But I don't make the policies. I don't make the rules.
Right.
So I'm not here to pick sides. I'm just saying, if you want to get paid, you do what they tell you to do.
Right. That makes sense.
So that's all I'm saying from your standpoint. I totally agree that it's a better system. I've actually done it before. We've waterproof roofs, and it's way more efficient. It's cheaper. It's faster. It doesn't harm the environment. It's effective. All that stuff, but they ain't gonna pay you for it.
You're right.
So don't.
They buy what they want, not
what.
what.
Right. What you want to give them. That's
Yeah.
So that's just one thing. Because I just find a lot of people like, hey man, I got this good idea. And I'm like, hey man, they ain't buying good ideas today. They're just not buying good ideas. So just stick with something that the government is actually looking for. And then, like I said, we could, and again, we show you all that. In fact, after our proposal boot camp, we're doing a first partner challenge where we talk about getting your first partner and your first consultant client. So, but I mean, we, again, I have a lot of material on consulting. And So we just, I mean, that's a topic that we have a lot of people doing, and it's very common, very popular area. In fact, you just joined a group, right? You just joined recently.
No, I've been a part of
Oh, yeah,
Govcon.
you've been at
Yeah,
Federal Help Center for a while. Okay,
yeah, for a
so
minute.
then but you're not inside with the group coaching. You're
Oh
sort
no,
of,
no,
yeah.
no,
So
no.
yeah, but I mean, so I just kind of showing you, but like I mean, we do this a lot. So this is not. There's a lot of people doing consulting, and so we have people in here that are working with companies that do IT, professional services, roofing,
Mhm.
you know. So again, it's a very I like this because those people go to work every day, so they don't have time to go look for business. So it
Right.
just makes it's a very easy thing to do. I mean, it's just really I haven't found anyone who's tried to get a client and not got one.
Yeah. No, that's a
Now
good point.
you know what I'm saying? Like I haven't found that. I just haven't. The problem is now getting the client to do what you need and give you stuff. That's kind of where the issues I've run into. So we talk about making sure they're hungry, like they're what I'm saying, like they're hungry as well.
Yeah.
They got some skin in the game because otherwise, you don't want to be spending your time with people that don't want to perform.
No, that's
So, but no, listen, if you want to, like I said, I sent you the stuff on Ryan. That
hmm
only applies to the other thing. If you haven't done an assessment call, do an assessment call with Brandon.
okay.
And so, do that. And then he'll give you the action plan and all the steps that we have to follow and, kind of help you figure out some of your next steps. All right.
Cool, man.
Yeah. Hit me up. Hit me up in FHC. I'll send you the link for the action. I mean, to do the assessment call.
Okay.
So I mean, it's just instead of putting join, put call at the end.
Okay. Cool. That's easy.
All right. All right. Thank you, my man. I
I
appreciate you coming up today, brother. I
appreciate
appreciate you guys.
it.
All right. Later.
Yeah.
All right. Hold on. I got to bring Martine Lowe. She's been trying all day, Mark Perry, to get up here. She's been trying all night, all day.
Yes,
You
I
know?
have.
So I got to bring you up here. So,
Okay.
no, good stuff. So tell me where you're calling from.
Hi,
How are you?
Eric. Oh my goodness. God knows. I am right now in Bridgeport, Connecticut.
Ooh.
Yes, and I've been watching you on YouTube. Let me tell you, early in the morning, we play your videos and everything. So thank you for the service that you're doing in the community.
Uh,
Listen, I learned a lot from you, so thank you.
Good.
Okay.
I'm happy. I'm happy you learned a lot. And I hang out up in Connecticut a lot. So I'm in
Really?
Connecticut.
Well,
Yeah.
listen, stop by when you come. Stop by, just
You
holler.
know,
Okay.
I hang out in Connecticut.
Okay.
I always stay in Rhode Island, Providence when I come up to the Northeast.
Well, you don't need that. Just come by, and I can cook. So
You
I
say you
cook
could.
out in the kitchen.
You say I could cook. I'm throwing it down. I love it. I love it. I love it. So tell me
Lis-
what you've been watching. Why what you trying to do? What are you trying to get into?
Oh, listen, Eric, I've been in the medical field for 27 years now. As a medical assistant, I work two jobs. Long story short, I am a very friendly person, and I'm always like connecting people basically to services without knowing about government contracting, because I'm very I like to help people. So anything I see that people need help, it doesn't matter who you are, where you from, Martin to the rescue. So I'm gonna help. So when I find out about government contracting last year, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I work two jobs, as I mentioned to you, so I don't really have time to spend
Right.
time with the family, two full-time jobs. So when yes, and I barely sleep, but I keep going, and I've been doing it for years. But long story short, when I know, find out about it, so I got real high interest in it. And I'm like, basically, there's a lot of opportunity.
Mhm.
So it's, that sound like some of the things sound like me, based on what I'm doing, connecting patients to different services, to different doctors, things like that, and a lot more.
Right.
So I open up my business. I have my EIN, my cage number, and everything
Yeah.
registered on SAM, all through you and on YouTube.
Uh-huh.
So
There you
yes,
go.
I've been
Good stuff.
watching. So I did that, step by step. Now I start with the proposal.
Okay.
I even watch a video too, but I'm not quite there. So
Right.
I'm like, okay, it's time to, go for some classes, and I'm open for that.
Yep.
But I
Yep.
just don't know how, and how to start it, to get registered for classes so I could, learn
Oh,
from the best, so
okay.
I could start bidding. Because I need to quit at least one job, eventually move.
I
But
like it. I
I'm
like your
fine.
energy.
Listen, Big
I
Mama
like it.
tired.
I like you got good energy. That's good energy.
Yes.
All right.
So here I
Listen.
am. Help me.
Oh, listen. I mean, that's easy. Listen, all you gotta do is call us, and we can set
Yes.
you up.
Yes.
Listen, call us. Right here, right below. You see the number. You see the email.
Yes. I see
And
it.
so,
I already got that.
call, set up an assessment call, and then when you talk to them, tell them you want to take some classes. That's easy.
Okay. And
That's
for
easy.
this right now, I didn't even know the live, like that people could talk to you live.
Yeah, right.
I found out about it at 7:38. And I find out that it's going to be on at 7:45. I said to the kitchen, wait a minute, guys. No cooking right now. I'm going to YouTube. So it took me a while because I never really done so. But
Right, right.
thank you for your info. As always, you've been always wise and informative. So I was able to log in. So thank you.
And you got there, and we got you there, right?
Yes.
So we get you set up.
Yes.
Yeah, no, listen, call us, and like I said, you could be, by Friday, because right now we're the session that we're teaching is on proposal writing,
Okay.
and so you could join a proposal writing boot camp
I want that.
and those. So
I
that's
want
something
that.
that we're teaching next couple of weeks. So yeah,
Yes.
just call us tomorrow.
I
Call us.
definitely. What time can I call? Because if you say go, I'll be 5 o'clock. I'll be by that
Yeah,
phone. What?
listen,
Because I'm
you can send
determined.
you can send a text right now, and someone will respond.
Listen, mwah, 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 mwah. And
Okay.
everybody that watching you, I want to say they got the best. They need to keep on watching you because you teach a lot, and God will bless you. All
Thank
I
you.
could do right now is pray for you, but when I become a millionaire, we'll see.
I'll take the prayers.
We'll see.
I take the prayers.
All
So
right,
you know
but
what?
thank you. I
Yes.
appreciate you.
Hey, I still, I need, listen, I, I'll take the prayers because guess what?
Yes.
I need to be covered too when I'm out here in this world
Oh,
and
you
I'm
got that.
traveling safely. I need to be covered.
You got
So,
that because
so
you got.
I never turn down no prayers. I
Yes,
never turn
we're
down.
nothing without the Lord. So I got
Yes.
you. You
All
got me.
right.
I got you.
Okay. All right.
Right?
So yeah, just that's it. That's easy. We can just
Okay,
call us
so I'm gonna send a
and
text then.
send a text in and say, hey, I just got phone with Eric and we need to, and then we'll get you set up with a call.
Okay, and hopefully next year I'll be on your channel to testify how many
That's right. Okay.
you bring
No,
in.
we want
Listen,
that. We
I
want
got
that.
you.
We want that. Hey, I want that for you. There's people in here. Hey, there's people in this chat right now that
Yes,
were sitting where you were sitting at last
yes,
year, and
yes.
they can tell that story. So,
Okay, listen.
yeah.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Good things to you and all your fans. God bless you.
God bless you as well.
All
Thanks. I'm happy
right.
you got up here. I love that
Thank
energy.
you. Love you.
Love you. Bye. Mark, you gotta come behind that. We can't hear you. Nope, your sound's not on. All right. Someone says, Eric, you share insight the big consulting firm, how's it impact new consulting companies like myself? Again, so with the big consulting firms, they're doing consulting for the government. People like us that are doing consulting with clients, we're not actually selling consulting services directly to the government. So it's a different type of consulting than what we're teaching you here. So it's not the same. These people actually have technical consulting contracts with the government where they are managing things that the government could be managing it, but they just, they're not specifically. So it's different. So I see you, Mark. We just don't hear you, brother. But hold on, Mark. Let me see something.
All right.
Okay, Mark, stay right there.
All right.
All right. So I have your mic on one and your camera on another.
Okay.
Is that better? You hear me now?
Yep.
All right, great.
Yes.
You are a wizard.
Hold on. All right. Hold on 1 second. Let me just kick this up. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I have you on 2 different sounds, but that's okay. It works.
Yeah, okay, good. Yeah, Eric, I love what you're putting down here. You're doing a great service.
Thank you, man.
Really appreciate you. This is
Thank
my
you.
first time being introduced to you. My wife has been aware of you.
Okay.
She's got a unique number, and we're ready to rock and roll. We've got everything in order. We got our cage.
Yeah.
Wanted to talk about really, though, should we pursue a subcontract initially in terms of getting started?
What type of work are you going after?
It's public relations, branding, and marketing.
Yeah. Where are you located?
We're out of Detroit, Michigan.
Yeah. So one thing I would say to Mark that you guys, what I would do is, so the government calls that strategic communications.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay, good.
So what you want to do is what I recommend for everybody out here. Okay. That's the first thing I would do. Let me see. Where is it at? Let me go back to here.
He's so smart.
1 second. All right. So this is what I want you to do, Mark. All right. When you are, all right, see number 5, set up your brand identity. And then you see number 7, model your SBA firm profile.
Yes.
All right. So in your world, in fact, so in your world, you call it branding, public relations, right? But in the government world, they call it strategic communications.
Mhm.
Oh,
So I want you to talk more like the government.
Right.
okay. Thank you.
Yeah, that's important.
So that when you're talking to people, they know. And I'm going to show you something. Hold on. I got you, brother. Hold on. I'm going to show you something real quick, Mark. Hold on. By the way, okay. All right. Boom. I didn't share my screen. What happened? Why is it not sharing?
And social media.
All right. Boom. All right. So, here's a just so you guys know, Mark. So these are 2 companies, Abacus and Maury and Associates
Okay, there we go.
here. And so Maury and Associates, okay, they actually, when you look them up, they do strategic communications content creation.
Mhm.
So as you see, content marketing, communication services, planning, execution, digital first aid, content marketing services. Does this sound like what you do?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey man, I know a little something. Hey,
You know what? On a little something.
I learned a little something. You know. Hey, listen, I mean, I just tell you, I'm out here, man. I'm literally out here. So, what I would do is an abacus. All right.
Mhm.
So, Maury and Associates. So going back to remember what I put on the screen before about making your profile look like profile of successful people.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Morgan Associates is one of those people. They actually, if you look them up, so they actually were named a large business prime contractor of the year,
Mm.
and they do for NASA their communications outreach multimedia services for NASA.
Wow.
Okay. Wow. That's,
We're changing our website.
Okay, so I but not the website. Remember, I talked about your profile first.
Yes.
If I go on SBA and I type in your company name, Mark, and I look at your profile, is it gonna show this strategic communications, right?
Okay.
Is it gonna reflect these things that they're talking about, right? Because that's the words that the government's going to be looking for, and that's how you're going to be able to communicate to them and articulate to them that you know what you're doing.
Okay.
Yes.
It starts off with what you say, right, and how you communicate. Because I can tell you all the other strategies about talking to people, but
Right.
first thing is
Mm-hmm.
you want to come on and say, "Hey, we do strategic communications, outreach." You understand? Like,
Oh yeah. We
we
need to
want
understand who we are.
Yeah.
Right, right. So that's why that to me is the first thing that on
Okay.
my checklist of activities is really knowing. Hold on.
The language.
Exactly, knowing the language, and where'd it go? Man, bump this. Do.
Mm-hmm.
So going back to this screen. So when I say number 7, model your profile after a successful firm. Notice I said successful, not just anybody.
Right.
Pick a successful firm and model their profile.
Got you.
When you model their profile, you're going to use their words. You're going to talk like them. You're going to look like them.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So even though they're doing the same thing that you do, the way they describe it and say it is night and day.
Right.
Ah.
Okay.
So that's where, for me, that I would say start with. Okay. And then, and again, this is our first page of our action plan.
Mm-hmm.
So starting off with that, like you said, you got all the other stuff done. If you haven't done your Apex, I got a list of by the way, for everybody watching, I have a list of questions to take to Apex, not just visit them. You come prepared when you go to anybody.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, I would do that. I gave you 2 names of companies that you can model your profiles after.
Right.
Go figure out how they're showing up on all their places they show up at.
Mm-hmm.
And then after you do that, now you'll be able to, you come to me and say, "Hey, Eric, we do strategic communications."
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
That's what you're going to say. Because when you get ready to talk to someone from the government, that's what they're going to understand. They're not going to understand the other stuff.
No, I get it.
And that's a big thing that a lot of people coming from the private world to the government world, they just, that's where we help them at.
Mm-hmm.
And just vocabulary stuff.
Vocabulary, technology.
Yeah. I saw you in the chat typing in PCR and all that stuff. I saw you filling that in the chat.
Oh, did you?
All
Yeah.
that. You don't know.
Oh, I saw it in the chat. I guess it wasn't you. I hear somebody in the background. So maybe
That's my
it was
wife's
you.
background. Yes, she's done the due diligence work in here. So she's been taking pictures and video and everything while we've been talking.
And we talked to you guys. I think we talked to Brandon.
Yeah, she's
Oh, you
talking.
did? Okay.
Yes.
All right. So you talked to Brandon. All right. Nice. So you did an assessment call with Brandon.
Yes, love him.
Yeah. Well, there you go. So you're already doing a lot of the right things.
We'll
But
off to it. We just want to get a solid start. So what you said here tonight has been critical. Has been very, very important, and we're going to follow up on it for sure.
yeah. So do that first, and then once you do that, so you met with Brandon. Did he send you the action plan?
Yes, he did, and it overwhelmed us.
Exactly. But that's why I said order.
Right.
Yeah.
Eat the elephant one piece at a time.
Right.
It's an order. It's numbered.
This is
It
numbered.
is numbered.
It is numbered. Like you're not supposed to go to 30. You're just supposed to.
I was trying.
One
Yeah, we got a little time limit here. Okay?
Line by line.
We hitting the number here. We trying to get it fast.
Well, if you try to get it fast, then sounds like you need some one-on-one coaching.
Yes, exactly.
Did you tell Brandon that?
Yes, we did.
Okay, and what he said?
He said he's gonna send me some information. We're gonna get going on it.
All right. When was that call? When did you meet with him?
Last week.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm gonna remind him.
Okay.
Will he know Mark Perry? Is that the name he's
So
gonna
he's
know?
going to know Pam. He's going to know Pam Perry.
Yeah.
Okay, Pam Perry. Okay. All right. I'm gonna text them right now and make sure. I'm gonna say they ready to go now.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go.
All right. Well, I mean, listen, again, you met with Brandon, you had the plan, you were overwhelmed. I gave you 2 things to do.
Mm-hmm.
So now that's some direction. But this is, I mean, essentially, like, this is what we do with people, when we do one-on-one. We do strategy. So that way you do some steps, you come back, do some steps, come back, do some steps. So
yeah,
all right. So, but listen, great meeting both of you, man.
Yeah.
Hey, did she take screenshots of what I sent?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay, good. All right, good. All right, so you took the screenshots and you have the action plan. So then that means number 7 step and number 5 step because you have in a plan.
Yes.
All right, and I'll make sure that Brandon follows up with you this week.
All right, sounds good. Thank you
All
so
right.
much.
Thank you guys. Have a wonderful night.
Thanks, you too.
Thanks. Goodbye. All right, everyone. Well, listen, that was great. Thank you so much. I enjoyed everybody's session today. Hopefully, again, if you have any questions for us, just email below, text, call. We are running the proposal boot camp for the next 5 weeks. So anything anybody needs, we'll be happy to help you. We'll do assessment calls, figure out where your struggles, and see how we can support. Thanks, everybody. Love you guys. Have a great night.